How's it going, everyone? They call me the Toaster, and today I'd like to show you this large-scale villager farm that you could build in Minecraft Bedrock Edition 1.19. So let's get right into today's episode. So first I'm going to talk about the features of this villager farm, and then I'm going to jump right into the tutorial. So let's find out what you're actually going to be building today. So this right here that you see is an iron farm. This will be able to spawn up to 3 iron golems at the same time because we're going to have 30 villagers in this farm. Iron golems are going to be funneled into this area here, and their iron is going to be collected into this chest. And also the cats are going to be able to come into this area over here. The reason why we want to keep the cats alive is so that the village will only try to spawn iron golems. Then under here, we spawn proofed the area so that no iron golems can spawn down here. And this is really the inner workings of the village right here. This is the 40 beds. So everything needs to be centered around this. So you need to make sure that there are no other beds within 128 blocks from here, even your own bed. This could really mess up with the farm. The next thing that we have is a zombie villager curing station. So if we lure in a zombie villager right into here, you could see that we could cure him, and we'll leave him in there until he's fully cured. And then when he becomes cured, we'll be able to send him off into the rail system to be a part of our trading hall. We also have a baby farm over here. You can see that they're going to make a child, and then we'll be able to put them inside of our trading hall over here. Once they fall into here, we'll be able to send them off. Then, of course, we have the actual trading hall right over here where we could have librarians, we could have Fletchers, and we could have all sorts of good trades in here. So, if you guys are ready, let's jump right into this tutorial. Here is the full materials list. You're going to need 1 bucket of lava, 2 water buckets so you can make an infinite source, 3 hoppers, 3 chests, 2 wooden doors, 2 wooden buttons, 10 stone buttons, 3 iron doors, 8 ladders, about a stack of glass, about a stack of torches, 2 stacks of rails, 12 powered rails, 1 activator rail, half a stack of levers, 3 dispensers, about a stack of cobble, 30 trap doors, 60 slabs, 8 blocks of redstone, 10 redstone dust, 2 composters, about 3 minecarts. You're going to need more, but if you want, you could reclaim the minecarts after you've traded with them. 2 sticky pistons, 2 splash potions of weakness, 2 golden apples, and 3 bread. 3 bread will give you 1 child in the baby farm, so if you want more, just multiply. Also, you're going to need 30 villagers to trade with. I like doing 20 librarians to get good enchants, and 10 Fletchers. That way I could trade sticks and get a lot of emeralds really easily. I just like making the villagers in the baby farm a different type than the other ones, so it's easy to identify them. You'll need more splash potions of weakness and golden apples if you plan on converting a lot of zombie villagers. Then you're going to need 6 stacks of leaves and about 24 stacks of blocks. You're also going to need 40 beds. I know we could only trade with 30 villagers, but then there's the 2 villagers inside of the baby farm, which gives us 32 villagers. And then there's just 8 extra. So if you plan on expanding it in the future, at least you have a bit of wiggle room for that. So let's start with the build. Start by making a square that is 4 by 5. So 4 on one side, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the other side, and fill this in completely. Next, you need to build up by 2 and completely fill in this cube. Once you've completely filled in this cube, you're going to start placing the beds. You'll place 5 beds on one side and 5 beds on the other side. And it's very important that the pillows are in the middle and they're touching each other. Now you can break the row just below that and you can place the beds directly below them. 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And repeat this until the bottom. Now you should have 40 beds placed exactly like this. So let's start the iron golem farm. So what you're going to do is you're going to place another type of block directly above the pillows. And this is useful because we're going to need to identify these blocks later. I'm using gold so that it stands out, but you could just use cobblestone or just some temporary block for now. The side that's going to be the front will need to go out by 3. 1, 2, 3. The chest in the front is eventually going to be on this side over here. This is pointing towards the front. Now, behind here, what we need to do is we need to go up by 1 block, and then we need to go out by 8 on every side. Now we need to extend it by 8 blocks in every direction. So let's start with the back side. We're going to go up by 1, and we're going to go out 8. So we already have our first one here. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then we're also going to come out 8 blocks this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now repeat this for the other side. So we need to come out 8 blocks from this golden block. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And fill in this area. Once that's done, we'll do the next segment. So we'll need to extend this out by 8 blocks as well. So now you should have a platform that looks like this. So it's 8 out on either side, and it only extends by 3 from the gold blocks. And now we're going to build our third platform, which is just going to be 1 below this one. And it's going to extend by 5 only. 2, 3, 4, 5. Now just fill this all in. Now you should have something that looks like this. So we're going to put a border all around it, and that's going to stop the water from falling out. So let's just add our border right now. Now, for the edges, I recommend that you put 2 blocks out here, just because if you leave it like this, there's a chance that they could just fall right off the side over here, and you don't want that. So just putting this block over here kind of really helps with that. So I'm just going to do that on all of the corners. And finally, we're going to put our leaves all around the edges so nothing else can spawn here. You could also use other non-spawnable blocks like half slabs or torches. I just think that leaves are really easy to get and to get a lot of. Now, you'll need to make an infinite water source because we're going to need a lot of water here. So you could put 1 in each corner here, and you have to place water all along the sides like this. And if you skip a block, that's okay because it'll just fill in the space before it. Except in the corners, that doesn't count. And if you did this right, the water should come just to the edge here and not fall over. So we're gonna put more water. And now for the final platform, we're gonna have them pushing inwards actually. So if you've done this right, the second layer should not be spilling over at all. And on the bottom layer, it should be leading into a 2x5. You could break your infinite water source now because we're done with it. Now down here, we're going to build the iron golem capture chamber. So we need to bring this down by 3 blocks. And now under the leaves, you can put your glass here because you'll be able to see inside of the chamber. Under the glass, you're going to place the double chest. And in here, you're going to place your hoppers. The one from the corner is going to be pointing into that one. The one here pointing into this one on the side. And then one here pointing into it from this side. Now we'll need to put in a floor. And we could put in our buttons. We'll need 2 buttons on the floor over there. So that way, when the water pushes into it, it doesn't go over the hoppers. And then we're going to place 3 buttons like this. Oh, sorry, that one was too close. And we're going to place our lava right in here. So this is what's actually going to be killing the iron golems. Now over here on the side, just dig out a little area for those cats. And just put a wall around them to protect them. Place 1 block here so that you're only leaving a 1 block gap for the cats to pass through and nothing else. Now you could put glass in here to close this off. And if you want, you can add a door right in here so that you can go inside and chill with the cats. I would put 2 doors just so that none of them get out. At least you have some sort of airlock when you're coming in like that. The last thing we need to do for this iron golem farm is to spawn proof the base. That way only iron golems and cats will spawn in the water chamber above. To spawn proof it, we need to put leaves under every block all the way up to the beds. So first I'm just going to outline it. So we're going to place leaves all inside of this area over here. Once that's fully filled in, what you can do is you can clear a way to the door, so that way you have easy access to it, but just be sure to place slabs down so that nothing could spawn here. And that's it for the iron farm. So now we're going to move on to the zombie villager curing station. For this, we're going to want to go in 4 blocks from the edge, and we're going to start over here. So first we're going to place down the iron door. This is where the entrance is going to be. We're going to place a wooden button out here. Now we're going to build the inside. Build out by 2 blocks and just make a little area here. So first we're going to place down a block of redstone here with a powered rail on top. And then we're going to go out by 3. 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to place another powered rail with a redstone block underneath it. Right at this powered rail, we're going to add a dispenser. And now we're just going to build this up by 1. And we're going to add a roof overhead. Right in the middle here is a good place to put a chest. And in here you could put splash potions of weakness and your golden apples for the curing. Place a button here, and then behind that you're going to place down 2 blocks, so that way we could power the dispenser. Also place a block on the roof right over here, and that's where our second door is going to go. So if we click this button, the door opens, and we click this button, it dispenses a minecart. Next, at this block, you're going to break down 2. You're going to place a sticky piston with a block on top of it, or you could use a regular piston with a gravity block like a sand or gravel. Now break these 4 blocks like this, put 2 pieces of redstone at the bottom, and then cover it back up. And now if you place a lever here and turn it on, it should activate that block. Now we'll place a glass block on top here and 2 more glass blocks here so that we could see inside easily. And then here we're going to close off this room by placing down 3 blocks with 3 slabs. This is important because we don't want, if the zombie villager gets cured and then it's just a villager here, we don't want him to be attacked by anything else. So having it like this will protect the villager that's converting inside of there. And if you want, add a button up here so that you can get inside. So now if you click this button, it should make a minecart go back and forth. And if you click this button, it'll let you out. And these buttons, this button here will open up that door. And place another button on the inside here too. Now when you have a zombie villager chase you, you can come inside of this room here. Click this button to let him in. And click the button above you to get out. And that's how you trap them in there. Now you could use the chest that had your splash potion of weakness and your golden apple. You hit him like that, and then you could cure him. So that's it for the zombie curing station, and let's move on to the baby villager farm. So starting after the block with the piston, you're going to place down a redstone block with a powered rail on top of it. Then you're going to place down a curved rail by putting down 2 in a row like that. And then we're going to extend it by 2 regular rails. And then we have to put in 2 blocks of redstone. One has the powered rail on the end, and the activator rail goes here in the middle. When a minecart drives over an activated power rail, it'll kick out whatever entity is in that minecart. So this is how we're going to send them into the breeder. On the powered rail side, facing inwards, you're going to place down a dispenser and put some bread in here. On the back, you're going to put down a lever, and now when you flick the lever, it should dispense bread. Now let's make the area where they're going to stand. So starting from the side of the dispenser, place down 5 blocks, and we're just going to extend it by 4. Now we're going to place blocks all around this area. I like using composters because it's easy to see which ones they belong to, and it doesn't mess with the librarians or the lecterns from anything else. So you see, this villager instantly took that job because he has a bed and he's going to take down one of the workstations. If your villager got a job before you put down these 2 composters, then there's another block nearby that's messing with it. You could have a lectern, a barrel, a composter, somewhere else that he's taking this job block from. So get rid of all the job blocks and make it so that he becomes a farmer. You can see which one he's going to take, because when you place it, green particles will show that it's being claimed, and green particles will also show on him. So we're going to place down a second one here because it's going to need to have 2. And we're just going to add one more to the walls. And put in a little roof above this place. Don't forget to light up this place. Now we need to do a little bit of tricky redstone, so try to stay with me during this. We're going to break this block down here, and we're going to place a powered rail here. Pointing into this powered rail, we're going to place a dispenser, and we're going to load it with minecarts. Now what we need to do is break down 3 blocks here, break the block under the dispenser, and this one here. Now we'll need to place redstone like this in an L shape, and then we can put the block back here. So now if we place a button here and click on it, it should light up this powered rail. You see how it turns on? And if I click this button here, it should spit out a minecart. So if I click this button, it'll send it moving. Now we need to place glass blocks over these rails and extend it out by 1. And these ones here can touch the floor. We're also going to build it up by 1. We're going to place 2 blocks above the dispenser. And then just 1 block here. And 1 block inside right here. This is an improved design. What that means is that the adult villagers will be too big to come into here, but the children who will naturally want to run around will be able to fall into the minecart here. And when they fall into a minecart, they automatically enter into it. Now we just need to close this gap. But before we do that, break this block here and put a piece of redstone and place a lever exactly like this. So now when you flick the lever, it should change the direction of the rail. So we're going to leave it like this because very soon we're going to be putting this villager into the baby farm. So the direction needs to go like this. Now we're just going to place rails around the building here. And I like to get rid of the corner ones because sometimes when they take a tight corner, it'll cause a suffocation. And let's just extend this all the way to the edge over here like that. And now we can build a wall for this segment. Build a wall around the rails. To prevent things from spawning in here, I just recommend to build it all the way up to the top. Add lighting inside of the rail system. And put down the final touches. Now back here at this spot, we can connect the glass like this. And we could also put glass along the top like that. And we'll add 1 more layer just to make it uniform. And for this part here, you could just put slabs on top of this to keep it easy. And place a few more slabs here. You could also put a torch in here, and that's going to light up the inside because the chest doesn't block it. And close this gap as well, so that nothing can get in here. And there's 1 more section here in the back that we have to close off. Got to make sure that everything is closed off right. And that's it for the villager breeder section. Let me show you how this part works. Now that he's cured, we're going to hit this button to pick him up in the minecart. And he's going to shuffle back and forth there. We're going to see that our rail is pointing the correct way. So we need to let down this hatch. Let him go there and then flick the lever back. That way, now he's going to be inside of this chamber. We could reset the trap and do it a second time. So it seems when you flick the lever that the bread comes off to the side. So just move the dispenser up by 1. And make sure that you put a solid block here so that the minecart bounces off and goes backwards. Now you need to break this block and place 2 glass blocks above the dispenser. And that's how you're going to access the dispenser here to add more minecarts. You'll know it's done right if you have exactly 1.5 blocks. And you'll see that the children, once they fall in, they go into the minecart. Giving them 3 bread will be enough to make 1 kid. And that's it for the baby farm. If you're making it this far, I want to say a big congratulations to you. Rome wasn't built in a day, so if you want to take a break, feel free to. But if you're ready, let's get on to the final part of this build, which is the actual villager trading hall. So let's start by connecting these 2 rails. So you're going to want to dig out this 1 trench over here. So let's connect these 2 railways. You're going to want to bring this up by 1 and then come over here and you're going to want to connect them like this. Why do you want to do this? Because this way comes from the zombie curing station. So if you cure one and you want to bring it directly into the villager trading hall, you can do that. Or if you have the children, they could also come into this. So these two need to connect exactly like this. So let's start building the first floor of the trading hall. So what you need to do is curve this one here. And then we're going to need to make a little curve like that. So then what we're going to need to do is place 1, 2, 3 in L's. And we're going to keep doing this. And you'll know you've done it right because the last one should match up with the first block from here. Next, we're going to fill in the spaces between the rails. And we're going to come out by 1. This is where the villager is going to go. So we need to extend it 1 more. And I would place temporary blocks like cobble in here because these are where the lecterns are going to go. But you shouldn't put down any job blocks until you actually have the villager. So we're just going to be placing these temporary blocks for now. We'll need to build this up by 1. And we're going to make a roof going across this. If you want, you can just cover this or you could fill it in completely. Now we'll place a torch right here where the villagers are going to go. This will keep them nice and lit. And we need to place down trapdoors from the inside so that way when we close them, they close outwards. This is going to protect our villagers from baby zombies that could just jump in a 1 block gap. Now behind these 2 curved pieces, you're going to want to place a lever so that way we could change the direction of the rails. We're also going to put a lever up here as well as a lever up here. So now we've already done 4 villagers. So now we need to do 6 more. So we're going to continue the process. Place 2 rails here and then flick this so it becomes curved. And then we're just going to make the L's going the other way on the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that should be the last one. And then we're going to build the same thing for these villagers. So it's a 3 by 2 in between the rails. We're going to put our temporary block in the front over here. We're going to place down our roof on the top. And seal the villagers in from the top as well. You could fill in this full area, or if you want, just to save some materials, just block them in like that. We'll need to place torches for where they're going to go. This will stop any spawning. And lastly, we'll need to place the trapdoors. Now place levers behind all of these curved pieces. So this might have been the hardest part of this whole build, so I want to show you exactly what's going to happen. Right now, let's pretend that a baby villager is going to come out from here. So he's going to go inside this minecart and we're going to send him on the way. He is going to end up in this one right here, because look at how the trail goes. So let's click this button to send it off. They don't travel as far when they're empty, but if there's a baby in here, it should go all the way. So you see that one ended up like that. So then what you're going to do is you're going to push them all the way to their block, break this block behind them, seal it up, break that rail and place it like this. So now the next one is going to go into the second one over here. So let me show you. We have another baby villager in the minecart. We're going to send it off and it's going to go into the second one. We're going to do the same thing again. We need to push the minecart a bit so that we can place this block behind him. And when we flick this, it's going to go to the next one. And the next one. And the next one. And then when we're done, we can flick this lever to send it back here. And we'll do the same thing again. And we're going to fill up this whole row. Now let's start the second story. So we're going to place a powered block here. And then we're just going to build a staircase that goes up 2 more. Just like this. And we're going to place 3 powered rails. 1, 2, 3. And at the top here, we're going to place down a rail. So this is going to be the second floor. Let's build in the second floor a little bit, just so that we have an area to work with. And we'll curve this rail, and we'll build the same thing to go up to the third floor. A redstone block, followed by going up by 3 like that. So we have 1, 2, 3, and then a rail on top. And this one's going to be the third floor up here. So let's fill in this floor over here. I think we're going to have to fill in these gaps. And we'll just copy exactly what's on the floor below for the second one. And just a quick recap. So we're going to have to go over by 1. And then we're going to have to make the L's again. We're going to have to make our 3x2s in between the rails. And then we're going to have to do the same thing for the other side. Then we need to add our roof. And this time we'll fill it in completely. Don't forget to put levers down at the corner ones that you want to control. You don't need to do the ones on the end because there is nowhere else to go. There's no reason to change this one. So the ones on the ends don't need a lever. And then we'll build in a back wall for this area. And we'll place a lever on top here, and that way we can go up to the third floor if we need to. Don't forget to put torches where the villagers are going to go. Prevent mobs from spawning in here while you're waiting to do other stuff. We're going to put a temporary block where our job blocks are going to go in the future. And the trapdoors. Alright, I trust you guys to do the third floor, so I'm just going to do that real quick. Alright, and that's the third floor built, exactly the same as the other ones. So let's just fill this in a little bit. Let's make some walls over here. And we'll go all the way up to the top. We should also fill in the roof over this spot right here. And if you want to spawn proof the roof, I would just place torches up here because this is too far for the iron golems to spawn up here. You don't need to place down any special blocks. Just enough light will make sure that nothing spawns up here. Now we can also close off this side. And I would just place glass here with an iron door like that. And then I would close off this row above that. And also this row above here. So now you have an easy way into the minecart system if you need to make any changes. And place a button here if you want to get out. We're so close to being done, we just have to add the ladder and the levels for us to be able to get to these villagers. Under the cobblestone block, you're going to place a full row where you're going to be able to stand on. And do the same thing for the second floor. Now place ladders all along the height. So now if you need to get to somebody on the third floor, you could just go up the ladders and come up here and do the trade. And when you're ready, just fall back down. You could light up these paths as well, just to make sure that nothing spawns up here. And then it should look something like that. Now we just need to put some final finishing touches and then we're almost there. I noticed that the third floor didn't have a wall up here, so I'm going to extend the leaves out here. So that way it still counts as the wall and nothing can spawn up here that falls into the iron golem trap. I also missed a couple of blocks here. And here under the iron golem farm, it's very important that we put the rest of the leaves here. Because remember, we don't want any iron golems to spawn below the platform. Because then that's going to mess up the whole farm. So let's fill in this area completely. I don't think they could spawn on redstone, but just to be safe, I'm going to put 2 slabs over here to block that off. And you could light up this under area if you want. It's not necessary, but I know some people don't like having dark spots. And we also need to finish the wall on the first floor. If you want, you could replace these leaves with slabs. And that way you have easy access to the cat room. And that's it. Give yourselves a big pat on the back because that was a huge build and we just finished it. So let's put it to the test. I want to show you how you can get to be trading with the villagers if you're not familiar with that. So let's get right into that. So to start your trading hall, I recommend doing one villager at a time because it can get complicated if they start mixing their job blocks together. So I'll show you what's the best way to use this farm. So let's pretend we just cured another zombie villager in here. We're going to pick him up in the minecart. And we are going to send him into the system. So now he should end up right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just push him in a little bit. I'm going to close this off behind him. I'm now going to open up his trapdoor, break this block, and put a lectern here. And he should become a lectern. You're going to see the green particles. So now, oh man, knockback 2. That's my favorite enchant on the first try. What are the odds? I'm going to trade paper with him to lock in that trade. Now that you've traded once with him, he's not going to re-roll this enchant. So let's do a second one. So now that this one's done, we can break it, put the rail back, and now it's going to go into the second one right over here. So let's say we get a second one in here. For example, if the baby villager fell in here, and then we brought it all the way to this spot and let him grow up, what you're going to do is you're going to break the rail, push him in a little bit, close it up behind him, and flick the lever so that it's ready to go to the next area. And then you're going to come around the front, and you're going to open up the trapdoor, break this block, and then put down the lectern. He's going to become one. And if you don't like it, you can just break the block, put down another one. Or if you want, you could use a sticky piston to kind of make it a little quicker. Because if you put a sticky piston like this, activate and make it come back, he'll re-roll. You see now he has power 1. Get him to re-roll another time. You see now we got infinity 1. So if I like this trade, I'm going to trade with him once just to lock it in. And you could tell because this bar has gone up. And now he's going to keep this. If you want, you could write on the signs what the trade is. And that way you're going to know. Now just break this and repeat the process until you have a full row of them. If you get a villager that is dressed in green like this, he's a nitwit and he is going to ruin your farm. I just recommend you kill him with lava because he is going to cause a lot of problems for your farm. The reason why I chose to kill him with lava is because then the villagers won't be mad at me. I want to cover one more example where you have, for example, 2 villagers that don't have a job block. And if you put down one in front of one, you'll see that it goes to the other one. Sometimes it doesn't go to the one that's directly in front of them. In that case, what you're going to do is you're going to put it down. You're going to see it's turning green. That means somebody else is linking up to it. You just have to find out who that person is and get them to sync first. And then once you're happy with the trade there, then you could put this one down and it's going to go for that one. So let's add in all 10 librarians into this row right here. Baby villagers can't be assigned to a job block, so if you have them, don't place down a lectern in front of them just yet. Just keep them protected until they grow up. Once your village has 10 villagers, then iron golems can start to spawn. Any second now, one should be spawning. For an iron golem to spawn, all the villagers must be assigned to a bed, and at least 75% of them have to have worked in the past day. So we'll give them a little bit of time to work, and then we'll see what happens. And there you go, one has just spawned. So when you add a second row of villagers, then 2 will be able to spawn, and so on. The iron is going to drop into the hoppers as well as the poppy, and we'll collect it right in this chest over here. The village will try to spawn in up to 10 cats, because it's 1 cat for every 4 beds. So once you have all 10 cats that are caught in here, the only thing that the village could spawn is iron golems. So that's why it's very important to keep them alive. And that's the end of our build. I wanted to thank you guys so much for making it to this part of the video. I hope you learned a lot. I hope this was very helpful and that you'll be able to put this in your Minecraft Bedrock worlds. And if you do, leave a comment. Tell me how it was to build this. Please hit the subscribe button. I would really appreciate it. Toaster out.